Con ustedes, Elena Panaritis.
Wow. Never thought I'm going to be an economist and I'm going to have 15,000 people listen to me. Thank you very much for having me here today, Ricardo. It's a great opportunity to face the world for something really important. As you've heard throughout my career, I've had the opportunity to create results that unleash prosperity, that change society to become more modern. And I was able to do that because I focused in changing the rules that block markets, block society, and many times, often, block countries and generate informality. You see, the rules are supposed to be representing society demands, and they're supposed to be constantly changing, so they represent the changing demands that society has and the citizens have. Now, when rules, and as a result, the status quo, does not flexibly adapt to these changing demands, then we have a problem. Then we start having frictions. Then we start having social discontent. And then we actually also start having a lot of issues related to economic crisis, marginalization. But today, the most prominent global issues that concern world leaders and decision makers are the issues that we've talked a lot about the last 3 days. Artificial intelligence, global warming, crisis in democracy, inflation. They're really important issues. They're really important challenges. And they're in the heart of the agenda at Davos. They're at the heart of the agenda of the IMF and World Bank meetings every year. Now we're going to have the spring meetings in April. However, most countries continue to struggle with different basic issues that stifle economic growth and prosperity. And these are issues such as inequality, alarmingly growing, thinning middle class, flows of immigrants and refugees coming into countries and out of countries, and of course, sovereign debts that are growing in unmanageable numbers. We just don't want to talk about it because it's so scary. And you know, these type of pressures are really high for the governments and the leaders of governments, especially when they come back from Davos and they have to take care of their people and their citizens in their own countries. And it's really interesting because in this picture that I just tried to describe, there is one fundamental challenge that is almost always ignored. And that one is the challenge of informality. Informality, a word that we use very often. It is really a condition of insecurity, and it is always invisible. And for this reason, we try to make it understandable, right? So we say, we confuse informality and we say it's actually poverty, or it's tax evasion, or it's illegality. But it's not. It's none of the three things I just mentioned. You know what informality is? Informality is totally undocumented or badly documented humans and their own little basic assets they have, let's say their home. And if you have such bad documentation, that's when you start having an increase in vulnerability, an increase in the risk, and you know the most important part, an erosion of trust in society. Did you know that 2 out of 3 people on the planet live in this ecosystem that I just described? 70% of the world's population. And they have rights, but they're not universal. Their properties, their identities, their contracts, they're not recognized formally by the state. So that creates this inability to actually be able to prove that most critical things, such as who am I, right? What do I own? What is it owned to me? How could I explain it better by just telling you that informality is also not a situation that handles only poor countries or third world countries. It does not discriminate. It goes for those who are educated and those who are not educated, those who are poor and those who are rich. I met in 1993 a lady called Tia Toro in Peru. She needed to show 9 certifications to prove her existence, let alone that she needed to wait at least 30 years to have her little shack that she had on a piece of land of 90 square meters. She had to wait about 30 years to have some sort of a formal title or registration. Okay? But then, I will take you to the European Union. I'm not going to name the country. There are 28. You can choose. So, the name of this lady is Ellie. She's a grandmother. She's very well educated. She speaks several languages. She has a proper identity card, 1, not 9. She actually has a passport. She travels a lot. She had to spend, however, 11 long years fighting in the court systems of her country to prove that the property that she was living in, her father was living in, and her grandfather was living in, all the papers were correct. 11 years in a European Union country. So, how can I have you understand, feel what informality is? Can I ask you to please close your eyes and think of a messy, confusing, unattractive space where rules are very confusing and unpredictable, and where you feel trapped. You feel you have no opportunity. You feel you have no way out, no exit, no freedom. This is informality. It's a corrosive societal disease. It undermines everything, every fabric of our society. It undermines our humanity. And you know what? It's contagious. It's contagious to the 30% who think that are formal. Ask a Greek who has received, all these economic crisis, and on top of it, a lot of unexpected migration coming in. It's not easy to resolve. And it puts at risk all the prosperity we have worked for, and it puts at risk the humanity we have been developing. I created a method called reality check. And this method was a way to resolve informality. Because I believe that there is no way but just to change right now the status quo and the rules that we have. There is no option. Either we're going to change it or it's going to change us. Reality check is a system that goes outside the traditional economic paradigm. And this system unlocks every single regulation and creates one unique record of who we are and what we own. We have applied it, and it works in more than 25 years that I've worked on it, we have plenty of success stories to present. And what is interesting is that there are some menu items that could be used. So what do you need for RCA? You need unstoppable leadership with a vision in politics, in economics, and in the financial world. You need appetite for reform. You really need to be hungry. You really need to want to do that change. You cannot have that change imposed. You need to want to do it. And you need to have curiosity, you need to have a discipline, and you need to have patience. So a group of us, a group of doers, of about 10 of us are now, 12, we got together and we created a campaign called 70% the Informals. It's doers, innovators in the space of economics, in the space of financial global development. And we're documenting informality around the world, and we're also documenting informality that has been transformed so we can see exactly what are the changes that occurred. We're doing this extraordinary campaign, and I would like you to see just a little 1-minute teaser of what is it that we have devised so far. I don't think I can say anything more. Join us to that one universal change we really need to do to save our humanity. Thank you very much for hearing me.